Impressed by the Lakers win over the Nuggets?
Mildly impressed. I'm not impressed by Anthony Davis saying we're back. I don't know how many games they're going to win scoring 93 points, okay? And Talen Horton-Tucker scoring on a putback over Nikola Jokic because he was just too lazy to go get the rebound, and Austin Rivers was too lazy to step back in bounds and actually defend a second time doesn't really convince me that the Lakers' championship form is back. Honestly, but I'm mildly impressed because they did do this without Dennis Schroeder. They did it without LeBron James, two of their top three players, and they had their backs against the wall. So they needed this win, and they went and got it. But this says more about the Denver Nuggets and their capacity to take a step back at the oddest times. They've lost twice to the Wizards this year, twice to the Golden State Warriors this year, and 3 times to the Sacramento Kings. That's what's a little befuddling for me when it comes to Nikola Jokic and him being an MVP and all that. So, but look, the Lakers got it done. They needed it. Let's just stop short of saying that they are back to championship form.
Well, look, I know LaVar is not impressed with anything outside of the Utah Jazz, but I'm going to say I was impressed a little more than mildly. You know what I was impressed by? The defense. All right, you say what you want about the Lakers, but they can defend. They're the best defensive team in the league statistically, and I think they're definitely a top 3 defensive team in the league overall, and they just went out there without LeBron and held a top 5 offense to 89 points. All right. And what that tells me is that is one of the 3 things that Western Conference opponents need to be concerned about. One is LeBron James and his health. We all know he has to be healthy for this Lakers team to have a shot at winning the championship. If you've got that, then the second thing is Anthony Davis, who not only hasn't been himself since he came back from injury, but really hasn't been himself all season long. Yesterday was a step in the right direction. He wasn't phenomenal, but he did hit the big shot at the end of the game. He did end up with 25 points and I think 3 blocks. So it was a step in the right direction. If he can become the AD of last year, which shouldn't be asking too much, that's a second thing for teams to worry about. And the third is, as I said, that defense. They get after it, and when you've got a defense like that and LeBron James and Anthony Davis and adequate shooting around them, you've got a shot to go deep in the playoffs.
Is Caruso the MVP of the league? Caruso, are you the MVP of the league? Because he was the guy, right? He was the only one that actually really supported your boy AD in the game last night. I liked it, but I was not impressed. Sorry, Mr. Broussard, even though you tried to downplay me liking the Utah Jazz. This isn't about the Utah Jazz. This is about your Lakers and how you like to qualify for your Lakers. And, Rick, here's the thing. Here's what I'm thinking, right? You're talking about a team that's split quarters with this Nuggets team, okay? Split quarters, meaning they won 2 quarters, the Nuggets won 2 quarters, and they just happened to win the game by a couple points, right? Like, 2 possessions by the end of it? Like, I don't look at this Lakers team and it says to me, oh, my gosh, they're back. Oh, my gosh, here we go. You know what? I look at the Lakers and I say to myself, this was a team, much like when you say, oh, you were a good parent. Oh, you were a good student. Oh, you did well in the game. Oh, it's your job to do well in the game. It's your job to be a good parent. It's your job to be a good student. They are in a very desperate situation right now. Wouldn't we all agree? We just heard LeBron complaining, boo-hooing. I don't like the fact that we got this play-in tournament. Whoever had that play-in tournament thing or that stuff, they shouldn't even have a job. You know why he's nervous, fellas? Because they're going to mess around and be in it. Right now, they 1 game away from it. And by the math of it, if they slip and don't fall, wobble a little bit, they might wobble right into that buzzsaw up in Golden State that's messing around with everybody's emotions and feelings, shooting the ball from all over the place, and Steph Curry. I look at this, it's not impressive. It was a must-win for this Lakers team. Yes, I said must win Ric Bucher. It's a must win. Yes, I said must win Chris Broussard. It was a must win for the Lakers. So good, you got it. I don't know about saying we're back, but you certainly still in contention for not having to play in that playoff that you definitely don't want to be a part of.
LaVar, thank you for that tease on a future segment in this show right there. Much appreciated. Broussard, I noticed how you conveniently skated right around Anthony Davis, suggesting that this performance is a signal that they are back to championship form. Are you telling me that you agree with that statement, that them holding the Nuggets to 89 points? And let's be realistic. Were the Nuggets really held to 89 points, or did they hold themselves to 89 points? Because I don't know that this was a suffocating performance by the Los Angeles Lakers, as I saw a Nuggets team that simply was going through the motions, was turning the ball over, and was missing a lot of open shots. And the Lakers played with just enough energy in order to ultimately get it done. And by the way, the close was not impressive. We can take the highlights and make it look good, but they were comfortably ahead. And if there wasn't for the flop by Anthony Davis, maybe this game turns out different. A flop on a shot by Michael Porter Jr. that would have made it a one-point game. So, with all that, I ask you, Broussard, are you really convinced, as Anthony Davis is, that the Lakers are back to championship form as a result of the way they played last night?
Look, the "we're back" statement, I think it's perfect to yell at a teammate on the court or in the locker room.
No, it's not.
I love it. The rah-rah. Yeah, boy, we back.
No.
That's what I'm talking about. We back. I love all that.
The great qualifier.
If he had said that on the podium after the game, I didn't see it. I don't think he said it. If he had come on the podium and been questioned by the press and said, "Oh, we're back," then I would have had an issue with it, because they're clearly not back. You're not back until LeBron's back. You're not back until Anthony Davis is playing at the superstar level again. So I will give you that, Rick. But don't poo-poo the defense too much. I mean, they gave the young Michael Porter some problems. Jokic, it took him 28 shots to get his 32 points. This is a guy that shoots 57% from the floor. So I think their defense was very good, and it is always very good. And here's the other thing, guys. And look, I'll make my official Western Conference pick before the playoffs start. But I'm telling you, who's scaring a Lakers team that's got LeBron back at 90, 95% and AD playing well? We just saw Denver. Their second best player is Michael Porter Jr., who's 22 years old. He is playing lights out basketball. But is he going to step into a playoff series against LeBron James and be lights out at 22? I don't think so. Is Phoenix scaring you? And LaVar, with all due respect to your Jazz, they ain't scaring nobody, all right? Donovan Mitchell is hurt. He's got to come back from the injury. The Clippers, Kawhi Leonard struggling through a foot problem. So the West, as good as the West always is, there is nobody that if I got LeBron at 90, 95% and AD as his Robin, there's nobody I'm scared of, especially when I lock people down defensively like I was a Michael Parsons of basketball.
Oh, my God. I like where you went with it.
I would agree in most cases.
Argue that.
I like where you went with that. Go ahead,
Chris,
Rick.
in most cases, I would agree with you in terms of defense really being the hallmark of a team and whether it's going to win the championship or not. And certainly it is a reason to believe that the Lakers are still capable of doing that. But you have to have some semblance of offense. They are the reverse image of the Brooklyn Nets, where we have no doubts about their offense. We have some questions about their defense. With the Lakers right now, it's the reverse. We have concerns about their offense. And just because they beat the Denver Nuggets scoring 93 points doesn't convince me that they are going to be okay. And we saw them with LeBron back, and that offense still ultimately wasn't good enough. And here's the other issue here. One, Nuggets have struggled. Jokic has struggled with Montrezl Harrell and that Lakers defense before. So it's not as if the Nuggets are an indicator of where the Lakers are. This is just more of the same. And so when I look at where they are, the Lakers still have this difficult situation where Dennis Schroeder is out, LeBron James is in and out, and they are facing the prospect of having a play-in game to win in order just to get into the regular playoffs. So they needed this game desperately.
3 games
far
scared.
more than the Nuggets needed this game. To suggest that now this is an indication that they are the team to beat, I just can't go that far. And because of the circumstances, I just can't put that much on it. I need to see a couple more like this in order to believe that the Lakers are anywhere close to what they need to be in order to repeat as champions.
That's legitimate. And they need LeBron as LeBron. He can't come back 80% like he apparently did in these last 2 games. I'll go back to last year. When he came back, he thought he was ready, right? I'm activating playoff LeBron. And they went 8-13 after he came back from the groin injury 2 years ago. So if he doesn't come back near the top of his game, I'll give you that, and they will have trouble offensively. But if he comes back at 90-95%, which might be a big if, then do you still have the same concerns about their offense? And that's the thing. I don't. LeBron James playing like he was before the injury, I don't have those same concerns about the offense. I'm not saying they're Brooklyn, but their offense will be more than adequate. LeBron's going to be able to get his points. AD's going to be able to get his points, and I think they'll get enough shooting, as they did last year, that to go along with that stellar defense where they can still be dangerous.
The number one question that I have about their offense, and this is what I have about the league as a whole going into the postseason, is that the three-point shot has become as prevalent and as important as it's ever been in the league. We're seeing it taken far more often, and your percentage has a huge influence on whether you win or not. I don't know if the Lakers shoot the three-point shot well enough in order to win a championship. And I believe that that is a factor now in a way that it's never been before. It's certainly been the case in the regular season. My question is, does it translate to the postseason? And are we in a new era where for you to win a championship, you have to be able to play defense and you have to be able to shoot the three?
Anthony Davis played as a superstar last night. Won't hate on that. But to say we're back, that's a stretch, Broussard. And you basically said addition by subtraction for the Western Conference, which I find to be interesting. Injury, injury, injury. Therefore, the Lakers are good. I don't know, Chris Broussard. It sounded like that's what you said. If that's what it is, then the West might be in trouble.